Ladies and gentlemen, a cordial welcome on the occasion of the press conference presenting the interim results. The CEO Heimo Scheuch and CFO Willy van Riet will present the results. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. On behalf of Willy van Riet and myself, a cordial welcome to the mid-year press conference. When we look at the facts and figures of the first half of the year, I think we can be satisfied with the performance of the group. Revenues have increased by 4%, which is reasonable growth in a challenging market environment, and EBITDA was increased by 7% over the first half of the previous year. This, in turn, is thanks to the consistent implementation of our strategy, which is focused on innovation. New and innovative products are being launched. We optimize our internal processes, and of course, we implement growth projects. All that has contributed to the growth of the group. When you look at our net result, a steep increase by 54% over the previous year. When we look at the individual segments of the Wienerberger Group, I should first point out that Clay Building Materials Europe, that is the brick segment in Europe, benefited from slight increase in European residential construction activity. We had a very good environment in Central and Eastern Europe, while in Western Europe, some of the markets were declining or stable. And overall, however, we took advantage of this environment in all product groups, that is clay blocks, facing bricks, and roof tiles. We were able to increase our revenues, and we improved our average prices, which certainly contributed to our strong EBITDA in this segment. I'm going to show you a couple of examples where the group succeeded in recent years in positioning itself very strongly. This is an example from Belgium. You will remember that it was our stated objective to position ourselves strongly in urban residential construction. This is an example from Belgium. Together with the developers, together with architects and urban planners, we've been working on the development of sustainable concepts, not only as far as the building envelope is concerned, but also the use of water, including rainwater. Rainwater is being reused in the garden for irrigation purposes. So we contribute towards sustainable residential construction. We also want to be strong in affordable housing because that allows us to increase the quality of life of young people. This is an example from Paris. Social housing, small and large dwellings, but also commercial facilities, shops and SMEs, again using products of the Wienerberger Group. Another very interesting example from Switzerland, a modern urban building. As you know, single households are becoming more and more numerous, and here we created a combination with social rooms, kitchens, etc. A futuristic approach, I would say, which is very well accepted in Switzerland. It offers a great deal of flexibility. This is an example from the Netherlands. Old urban quarters are being either renovated or torn down, and new buildings have been set up, again with products from the Wienerberger Group. In recent years, we also set ourselves a strategic target in the field of renovation. This is an example from Germany. The building has been renovated, particularly with a view to decreasing energy demand with Wienerberger products. This is an example from the roof tile segment, an example from Romania. Roof tile products from Wienerberger have been used for the renovation of the roof of this building. I move on to Pipes and Pavers Europe. We had almost stable revenues, but EBITDA declined. This needs to be seen against the background of the fact that in all major markets of pipe life, that is the plastic pipe market, we did see a sound development in Norway, Sweden, and Finland, as well as in Austria and the Netherlands. But business was not going so well in our international project business in large length and large diameter pipes for utilities, for the oil and gas industry. We saw a significant drop in business activity there. Those are products that contribute a great deal to our earnings, and this development mainly accounts for the decline in earnings. We were also confronted with rising raw material prices in the plastic pipe segment, which we couldn't fully pass on to our customers. It always takes a while, 3 to 6 months, before price increases in raw materials can be passed on fully to customers. And we had a very difficult market environment in France, and the results are below our expectations there. All that meant that we have to report a drop in earnings in this operating segment. But here again, we were innovative. This is an example from Germany with a pipe jacking project applied by means of the micro-tunneling technology. And this is another example from Norway. Cable protection pipes laid in Norway. Finally, the North America segment, we benefited from a satisfactory development in residential construction of single and two-family homes. We were able to increase our revenues. Also, in our plastic pipe business, we saw a positive development, and EBITDA in North America increased significantly. This is an example from traditional residential construction in North America, a single-family home in Memphis, Tennessee, set up together with the St. Jude Foundation. This is going to be auctioned off, and the money will be used for cancer research. This is an innovative facade design. Different types of facades are being combined. This is an example from Canada. So the targets which we set ourselves in recent years, that is to be stronger in renovation, stronger in urban residential construction, are producing results, and we are satisfied with the development in this important area. Now I hand over to my colleague, Willy van Riet. Ladies and gentlemen, I too wish you a good morning, and I'd like to give you an overview of the figures for the first half of 2017. Revenues up by 4%, like for like. That is adjusted for foreign exchange differences. It would be plus 5%. EBITDA up by 7%. to 190 million. Again, adjusted for foreign exchange differences, it would be plus 5%. EBIT plus 22% and a net result up by 54% to 41.7 million euro compared with 27.1 million in the previous year. Now, let's take a look at revenue growth. 4% revenue growth, 3% accounted for by higher sales volumes, which is highly satisfactory in a challenging market. Price developments plus 2% across all business units. We were able to increase all prices in an environment of low inflation. So that is a very satisfactory development. It's also due to a better mix of high-value products. We had no consolidation effect this year, and the FX effect, that is currency translation differences, depressed revenues by 1%, resulting mainly from the British pound, the Turkish lira, but those are movements which we also saw last year. So revenues 1.5 billion as compared with 1.4 billion the year before. Organic EBITDA development, again, adjusted by non-core real estate sales. The increase is from 176 to 185. EBITDA goes from 178 to 190 million as reported. Again, a steep increase. When you look at the income statement as a whole, 4% plus in revenues, EBITDA plus 7%. Depreciation and amortization has gone down slightly, and we booked a small impairment charge on one of our ceramic pipe activities in Germany. But EBIT plus 13%, 10 million higher than the first half of the previous year. The financial result, and you have to look at that in connection with the hybrid coupon. As you know, at the beginning of the year, we redeemed the first hybrid bond, and that replaces bank loans. So you can see a shift there. We still have a slight increase in the financing costs, but we are gaining a great deal on the hybrid bond because one is expiring and the other is going down from a coupon of 6.5 to 5%. So we have a profit after tax which is 15% higher, and a net result after non-controlling interests and after hybrid capital. The net profit has gone up from 27 million to 41 million, driven by an excellent operating performance of the group, and also thanks to what we did last year and at the beginning of this year as regards refinancing. As regards our cash flow, it has gone down slightly compared to the previous year. We are also paying tax, which you can see in the gross cash flow figure. Change in working capital has gone up slightly, but relatively speaking, this is quite okay. We're doing very well as far as working capital is concerned, and seasonally, for seasonal reasons, our inventories always go up during the first half of the year because we're producing for the construction season, and we're going to bring our inventory level down in the course of the second year. Free cash flow, 137 million. Growth capex, there hasn't been much in the first of the half year, and dividend and hybrid coupon 61.6 million. less hybrid coupon payment, more dividend payment. And this gives us a net cash flow of minus 200 million. And what you can see here is practically the change in working capital. Development of net debt. Net debt has gone up, 122 million contribution from gross cash flow, the dividend and the hybrid coupon paid out. 61 million, total investments 58 million, working capital and others 160 million. So our net debt stands at 789.7 million. Despite the redemption of the hybrid bond, this has no influence on our balance sheet figures. We still have a very strong equity ratio. Net debt to EBITDA, which is an important parameter, remains at 1.9 times, and the gearing is also at a very low level. You always have to compare June with June because of the buildup of working capital, and you can see that despite the redemption of 200 million hybrid, the increase in working capital, we do have a very strong financial position. And our financing structure is very balanced, few lines drawn, a maturity profile that is stretched over a long period. Now, I move back to Heimo for the outlook.
Thank you very much, Willi. You've seen, ladies and gentlemen, that because of the very strong financial basis, here we have achieved very good results. Here you can see the development in the European markets. We are slightly above the level of previous year in the United Kingdom and in the Netherlands. We've seen an increase in new housing construction in France. This is the Macron effect, and this will continue throughout the year. There has been a slight downward trend in Germany. Whenever there are elections in Germany, there are uncertainties. Elections are coming up in September, and as a result, the building permits for single and two-family homes have slowed down. This is not dramatic, but it's a development that we feel in the market. When it comes to Belgium and the Netherlands, we have seen that there was a shortage of insulating materials. This has affected particularly products based on plastics materials, and therefore there have been delays or even standstills in construction. However, there's a very positive development in Central and Eastern Europe, as you can see from the map. Many of these countries are now shown in green, which means an increase of new construction and housing activity. Many countries have taken incentive measures, and on the other hand, the economy has also improved in those countries. So there is more investment in the residential construction sector. Let's take a look at pipes and pavers. There's more activity also in investment into infrastructure. That is to say, funds provided by the European Union are being made use of. So we hope that in the coming years, activities will pick up. When you look at the Western European countries, we expect a stable development or even a slight increase. Ceramic pipes, here we are very strong in Belgium, France and Germany, and Semmelrock, of course, is very active in concrete pavers in Central and Eastern Europe. So increased investments in infrastructure is important. North America, with all the discussions going on, right now we see a positive development in single and two-family homes, and this is a development that will continue throughout the year. We have seen significant growth in our sales volumes, and we will also be able to increase average prices. Ladies and gentlemen, Wienerberger not only focuses on markets, products, the financial markets, and our financial performance. Willi and myself want to lead the group into a future where we can meet the global challenges, which are manifold. In view of this situation, we have set a number of goals for the Wienerberger Group, goals where we can make an essential contribution. This, of course, is related to climate change. Here we can provide energy efficiency, modern buildings, and also energy efficient production. We also want to be able to do with fewer resources. We want to create healthy, better jobs, and we must also consider to provide the necessary infrastructure for the future. So, from a global perspective, we cannot just focus on financial parameters. They will always be important, but they should not be the only factors influencing our strategy. We must also consider social aspects and ecological principles. This is one of the declared principles of Wienerberger, which we want to focus on in the future, particularly now in times that are very turbulent. We want to have an honest approach. We want to represent honest values when leading our company into the future. Here are some of our core values, which are also included in the sustainability report that was published in June. We have 16,000 employees. To the extent possible, we want to have 0 accidents. I'm saying this repeatedly, and I'm very serious about this. We certainly are dissatisfied when there are fatal accidents. We want to make sure that there is a priority on safety at work. So we will make considerable investments in this area in the coming years. Climate protection, again, an essential topic where we will make a contribution. By 2020, we want to achieve a reduction of specific energy consumption by 20%. This requires measures in the production sector in all divisions. We need to make improvements in the production sector. Then, of course, innovation, which I've already mentioned. Here we have set clear-cut goals for ourselves. When it comes to revenues, we want to have innovative products, a high share of innovative products. Also, of course, we have a social commitment. We not only promote and support social projects, do something for the local population. We are clearly committed to accept only 0 incidents of corruption in all the countries where we are active. These are just a few examples from the Sustainability Roadmap 2020. Over and above that, of course, we have clear financial goals. Again, we want to achieve sound organic growth this year. We will manage increases in sales volumes and prices. There will be savings from operational excellence in the amount of about 10 million. And with our EBITDA guidance of 415 million, which does not include foreign exchange effects, Willy van Riet talked about those, consolidation that is sales or purchases, and also sale of non-core assets. These are not included. When looking at 2016, we expect that the negative effect of foreign exchange effects can be offset by, and we will have a positive earnings contribution from the sale of non-core assets. So again, we'll focus on organic growth. We have a clear digitization agenda, digital workshops, customer orientation, also in the digital world, innovative products that I've mentioned. We optimize our business continuously, raising it to a new level. And we also make sure that our portfolio becomes even stronger. And we focus on core markets by providing innovative products. All this will mean an organic EBITDA of 415 million for 2017. So this was a brief report on the group activities in the first half of 2017 and an outlook for the second half of the year. Thank you very much for your attention. We are looking forward to your questions.
Bemerkungen zurückkommen.
May I come back to what you said about the reduction in specific energy consumption by 20% compared to 2010 by 2020? Have you achieved progress in this respect already? Saving 20% is a very ambitious target. What are you doing in concrete terms? Because your production involves intensive use of heat, and heat is expensive. So what are you doing? Yes, you're quite right. This is a process that is going on, and we have already made good progress along these lines. Our energy consumption values have already become significantly better. Now, what have we been doing? We've been doing a lot of research and development as regards the firing process. Energy savings can be achieved above all in our brick business, because there we use natural gas and electricity, and through the firing process in our furnaces we can achieve improvements in air circulation, for example. Also the intensity of movements, air movements within the furnace can be increased. Ventilation plays an important role here. All that helps to reduce energy consumption. We're at the beginning of a long journey. We know that 20% is an ambitious goal. We are convinced that we can make it, but it will take time, and we will not be satisfied once we've achieved that target. We will continue working on this topic. Another question. You mentioned the sale of non-core assets that would generate extraordinary income. Are you planning to close down plants? No. But as a result of the restructuring measures we took between 2009 and 2012, plants were closed at that time, and we still have real estate, old plants. We sold a plant in France. It takes time to sell such real estate. It takes time to get the approval for rezoning. It's not going to be an extraordinary result, because every year we make similar transactions. A question on Brexit. Last year, there was quite a bit of uncertainty, and you said that you could feel that uncertainty because the pound devalued. What's the situation now? Is it still an issue? Well, we have to draw the line between financial considerations. I agree with you, the pound devalued strongly last year, which had an impact on our financial parameters. In our operational business, however, and we produce locally and we sell our products locally, we had a slight drop last year, in the middle of last year, but then demand recovered, and demand is very good now. The UK market is, I would call it, an un-European market. The distributors in the UK had all counted on a pro-EU vote, and they made extensive purchases along the supply chain. Of course, then came the outcome of the referendum as a surprise, and there was a drop. But for the time being, the situation is good, and residential construction activity is livelier now than it was last year. Now, the two of us, Willy and myself, are rather reserved when it comes to the outlook for the future. We don't expect continuation of growth, rather stability, or perhaps even a slight decline in the coming years. It depends on how things are going to develop, but the British themselves are very bullish. We have good sales volumes and a good price level, and we are satisfied both in roof tiles and also facing bricks. Are there any markets in which you are not represented and where you would like to be? And you have 198 production sites. Is that going to remain stable, or are you planning to buy new plants? Now, the current strategy of Wienerberger is to strengthen our market presence in the markets we are represented in. That means we are investing in existing production sites to equip them for the production of higher value products. And if any candidates for acquisition come up in these markets, we would use them because we can achieve synergies and we can generate savings and achieve results quickly. We will not move into new geographic markets. This is no issue for us for the time being. We're happy to be strong in the European Union, also in the peripheral markets of the European Union and in North America. We don't intend to enter into new markets. As regards acquisitions, we are taking a look around. We look at small to medium-sized acquisition options, and if the price is right, the product is right, and the market is right, we will make such acquisitions. Considering your profit, your net profit, can you say anything about the future dividend now already? Well, we published our dividend policy, and we said very clearly that we aim at slightly increasing our dividend year after year, considering the financial situation and considering the projects that come up. The dividend currently is between 10 and 30% of free cash flow after the hybrid coupon. So the dividend may be increased, but not necessarily. We're not at the end of the year yet. It's too early to tell. Well, let's first bring the year to a hopefully successful conclusion and look to the next year, and then we will announce our dividend. Thank you very much. If there are no more questions, thank you for having joined us this morning, and I look forward to the next press conference. Thank you, Mr. Scheuch and Mr. van Riet, for your presentations, and we wish you a great summer.